was at Bugis MRT, I was with my friend. I don't know, this guy suddenly came out from behind me and did that thing and then suddenly went off.
This person I think he tried to touch me on my butt or something. Then I just moved to another carriage. I just stared at him.
The guy sort of came up to me and like pressed himself up against me. It was really awkward. It's happened to like more than a few of my friends. Like some guys just touch their thighs on the bus or something.
You're not alone if you've been groped on the bus or MRT. Monthly crime statistics show that there are about 100 reports of molestation each month. Since January, 46 men have been arrested in connection with 54 cases of molest. 20 of the alleged offences took place on public transport or near train stations and bus stops. The actual figure will be higher as many molest cases go unreported. So what can you do if you're a victim of molest on the bus or MRT? National wrestler and chief instructor for ladies at the Kapap Academy, Qin Yun Qian, shows 5 different scenarios and how you can react.
So this is basically in a scenario where I'm in a bus and I'm sitting next to this guy, and this guy decides to take advantage of me by putting his hands on my thigh. So by putting his hands on my thigh, of course, as most girls' natural reaction would be just to brush it away. However, he tries again to put his hands on my thigh. So now I know for sure this is a case of molestation. So using my opposite hand, I'll put in my index finger. This is my lever, my fulcrum, which is using my thumb here, and base would be now my thigh. So I limit the movement of his hands. Once I've basically caused pain on his finger, I use my free hand, the thumb, to target the pressure point just below his jawline, and I push it in. That is causing pain as well as to limit the range of motion for his free hand as well, so it prevents him from hitting me back. So this is a scenario where I'm sitting in a bus and I realize there's this guy who's going exceptionally close to me and rubbing his groin against me. So my first instinct is to shy away from him, look at him with some degree of confrontation. But still, he attempts to do it again. This is where I reach for his index finger, and now I bring him down with my small joint manipulation. Alternatively, if his hands are not available because he's grabbing the handrail and I have a pen in my hand, I can do this. I jab my pen into his thigh, and that will cause pain as well. In this scenario, I'm standing in a MRT station and this guy happens behind me. So what he does is he decides to step forward and rub his groin against my butt. Now, first thing I want to establish is whether is he really trying to molest me. So what I do is I take one step forward. So having done that, he still steps forward and rubs his groin against my butt. So now for sure I know that he's molesting me. What I do next is I turn around. My hand goes for a thumb lock with my thumb against the joint of his thumb, with my index finger just the tip of the thumb here, and I press downwards, causing pain on his thumb joint. My opposite hand goes against his elbow. I slap it and I bring his hands behind his back, fold it, and I have to make sure his hand is high up. I cut both hands at the top of the wrist and I bend it in this way. This was against his natural biomechanics of his wrist, and therefore this is where the pain derives from it. Alright, so in this scenario, as a bystander, I'm seeing this guy harassing this lady. So this is where I try to intervene the situation. Excuse me, sir, can you please leave her alone?
You know I beat it.
Okay.
Huh? You know I beat
So
it.
this is where I execute my move here. Alright, so what I should do now is, let me just break it down on what I just did. So, he tries to attack me by grabbing my forearm. So what I do, I stand on the far side of his arm while pinning his hand against my body. The reason I do this is because I want to be away from his free hand so he cannot attack me from here. Now what I do, I use my bicep area and I put pressure just above his elbow so as to take his balance away. Now I'm going to execute the small joint manipulation again. With this hand, I'm going to reach for his thumb, push it in this way to create pain on his thumb. Now his fingers are exposed. I reach for the index finger and I target in this way. And that's how you hurt this guy. Right now I'm going to demonstrate the use of everyday objects like a pen, like a comb, or even like a makeup pencil for self-defense. Right now, I'm going to demonstrate how a pen can be used for self-defense. I'm going to put this in my pocket right now, this way. And I'm walking in the streets and meet with this guy who tries to hug me in this way. I reach for my pen, pull it out. I will ram it just at the bottom of the ribs, 45 degrees upwards. That will cause extreme amount of pain for him to release his hold. So this is the first scenario. Second scenario, he comes from behind and he hugs me from behind, like a bear hug. So I take out my pen. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ram it at his thigh with a hammer grip, this way. Okay, so this from behind. The third scenario, he's a little bit further away. Okay, so he's putting his hands on my shoulder this way. So what I'll do now is I will use the same thing with the pen. From here, jam it. The techniques I've demonstrated earlier has two main purposes. The first purpose is to cause pain and creates a opportunity to escape. And second is as a control the assailant so that the situation doesn't escalate. These movements will attract attention so that it enables the women to call for help. Learning self-defense is important because women have to take charge of their own safety and not always expect that there will be people around to help them.
We hope these tips come in handy if you ever find yourself in such a compromising situation.